Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. We are back home, kind of getting back to regular life. We actually all got sick for a lot of days after we got home. I got sick, then Parker got it, then Cove got it, then Lola got it. It's just been like a little bit crazy. I feel like after vacation I always need a few days to like recover from my vacation. So it's been over a week now. Yesterday was Halloween. It was really fun with the girls. It's fun like with the holidays just as Cove gets bigger because she like gets it more. They were Paw Patrol dogs, of course. Cove was Mighty Pup Chase and Lola was Marshall. So they had fun doing all the Halloween stuff. And I'm actually in the car because I just drove an hour up to my office because we have a photo shoot today. We haven't done one in a while. We usually do them once a month, but since I was gone for most of last month, we didn't do one. And I think we only have a 2-hour shoot today. Normally they're like 3 or 4 hours, so that'll be nice because it's just less stuff for me to have to edit. So that is what I am currently doing right now. I also just posted on my story so that I can do a travel Q&A about our trip. So I'm gonna do that probably tomorrow, but it'll be in this same vlog. Yeah, we're gonna go in and see what we are shooting today. I also didn't bring like a purse or anything. I feel just like not mentally prepared for the week because we literally were gone for 3 weeks. We went down to St. George in southern Utah, and then we came home and immediately left the next day for 2 full weeks, and then we were home, but we were like sick for a full week. So I wasn't really working. I just feel like not mentally prepared to be anywhere other than my bed watching TV. I watched Love is Blind season 3. I think more episodes come out tomorrow, but you guys will have to tell me what you think of it if you've watched it. I thought that the 3rd season wouldn't be as good because I feel like the first one's always like really good of things like that kind of blow up, and then it's like you want more, so the 2nd one's good, and then by the 3rd season you're kind of like, is it still good? But I feel like this season is like really good so far. Anyways, yeah, we are going to go inside. Okay, I also got my new shoes. Finally got the Birkenstock Bostons, but I got my normal size, which is like 7 to 7.5, and they're actually kind of big. So I wish that I could get a smaller size, but they're literally sold out everywhere. And I do have socks on. I thought they would fit fine with socks, but I don't know. They're cute, but they're like a little bit too big for me. It's always kind of disappointing when the weather in here, or the weather outside is like gloomy. There's no sun today, but we like when the sun is like coming in the window because it just makes for like really pretty shadows and stuff on the wall. So I don't think we're gonna get that look today. We used to have everyone get dressed over here, and then we moved it into that room, and now we have like shoes and accessories over here. It's kind of dark in here, but here's a little studio setup. We're gonna shoot with this paper in the backdrop. We have our light. Pull me closer, but don't waste your time. Don't have any time for all your empty lies. I used to think that you were only mine, but I was blinded by a shallow light. Lola, are you blowing a kiss to Mom? Can you wave? Mwah, mwah. I love you, Lola. You're so sweet. You're the best. Okay guys, so it's the next day. Shoot went good yesterday. We got everything finished and it was so like calm and peaceful. We only had one model, and like I said, it was only 2 hours, and usually our shoots are like good and organized, but yesterday it was just like, it was good energy. Speaking of energy, right now I am sitting outside of an appointment that I have for an energy healer. I've never been to anyone like this, but I was watching Real Housewives of Salt Lake, and Whitney, one of the girls on there, was talking about like an energy healer. So I googled it. I just had like energy healer near me, and I found one that had really good reviews. So I was like, I'm gonna book an appointment. So I'm like 2 minutes early. Oh, it's 9:59 now, but my appointment's at 10. Yeah, I just thought it'd be fun to try, especially because it's so close, and I feel like I live so far. Like if I ever go do anything, I feel like I have to drive 30 minutes. So the fact that she was like 7 minutes away is half the reason I booked the appointment, because I love like doing stuff that's not a far drive. Anyways, I'm going in. It's also snowing today, which is literally the most depressing thing ever, and I feel my winter depression coming on already. So we're gonna see if she can fix my winter energy. Okay, I'm gonna go in.
Alright guys, I don't know what the last thing Aspyn filmed was, but hello, I am now entering the vlog. It's actually lunchtime, so I'm gonna make some food. Today's video is sponsored by our favorite, HelloFresh. Today I'm gonna be making some sheet pan Dijon onion crunch chicken. As you guys know, the holidays are just around the corner, and HelloFresh makes this busy time of year super easy by delivering pre-portioned ingredients right to your door to make for less food prep and less food waste, so you can spend less time meal prepping and cooking food. This one takes 5 minutes to prep and 30 minutes to cook, so I'm gonna get started making it. So this meal is actually for 4 people. You can get them for 2 people, up to 4 people. I'm only gonna do half of it and save the rest for later. 1 piece, to peace. All right, so just like that, in right around 30 minutes, my food is done and ready to eat. Here we go. I'm gonna give it my first taste. Perfect. HelloFresh's line of kid-friendly recipes is picky eater proof. It's perfect for families looking to try something new this school year. If you go to HelloFresh.com and use the code AspynandParker60, you can get up to 60% off plus free shipping. That link is on the screen and also in the description. Make sure you guys check it out. It's an awesome deal. I'm gonna sit and enjoy the rest of my meal and we'll continue on to the rest of the vlog.
So this is my third time recording right now because I keep trying to recap my experience at the energy healer and I keep just like making no sense. But basically I feel like it is like a real legit thing. I believed that before, but I don't have a lot of experiences like with stuff like this. And I feel like that's all I'm gonna say because I tried to explain more and my thoughts are not organized about this. So let's just say that I had a good experience going there. I'm gonna go back. And if any of you guys have ever been to anything like that, tell me your experience in the comments down below because I feel like it was like crazy. I kept waiting because I was like, I need to physically feel something, like confirm for myself that this works, and I did. It was crazy. Anyways, I also went and got my nails done, just did white French tips, and now I am back home and I'm going to do a Q&A answering your guys' questions. There are a million of them. If you guys didn't see our other video about our trip, quick little recap. We took the girls to Europe. We went to the south of France, we went to Nice, and we went to Paris. I think we had 4 days in Nice, 3 days in Paris, and 5 days in London. So we were gone for a total of 2 weeks, including like all the travel days and everything. First question, did you bring any toys and did you do laundry there? We did bring a backpack full of toys and we did do laundry while we were there. We ended up packing everything for all 4 of us in one checked bag. So we all re-wore the same outfits literally like 3, 4, 5 times. Parker only brought 3 shirts because I thought it was going to be cold there. I kept checking the weather and I feel like in the 60s it can be like warm or it can be cold and you like don't know exactly what you're going to need. I was like, bring a bunch of sweatshirts because I feel like that's sweatshirt weather. So he literally brought 3 t-shirts and he re-wore those t-shirts probably like 5 times each because that was all he had and it was kind of too hot for a sweatshirt, especially with like carrying kids around. So yes, we did do laundry and the toys were really helpful because the girls love toys. So also, how did you pick which places to go? So the friends we went with, Cody and Bria, they were the ones who were initially going on the trip and I was like, wait, I've been wanting to go, we should like go together, and they were like, yeah, that would be so fun. So they were the ones who wanted to go to Nice and I've actually been there already. So we went to Nice and then we were gonna go somewhere else and I kept trying to find places that were kid friendly and like stroller friendly and family friendly, and I was kind of just getting nervous to go somewhere that I hadn't been before, especially with taking the girls and just being so unfamiliar with like where we are. So I was happy we were going to Nice even though I've already been there. And then Cody and Bria were going to Paris after, and then our flight was actually in and out of London, so I knew we were going to do at least like a day or 2 in London because we needed to get back there so that we could fly home. So we decided to follow them up to Paris again, and then we ended with like 5 days in London, which was super fun because Parker's mom actually flew in. You guys saw that in our video. She works for an airline, so she gets to fly for free. So we were like, you should come and meet us in London because she hasn't ever been there. So that is how we picked where to go. And I feel like the girls didn't do quite as well in the bigger cities just because it's like a little more go, even though we tried to still kind of keep our days somewhat chill. But in Nice, it was just like a little bit more mellow and like slow paced with things. And I feel like they did better with that. But sitting in the stroller all day, they just like didn't really like. I'm happy we picked those places, but also if we went back, I would do something like a little bit more chill where the girls could kind of get out and be doing stuff versus it was us like in London. We went to like museums and the Tower of London and all this stuff that it was just like stuff that was more fun for us, and we still incorporated things that were fun for the girls, like we would go to the park and stuff like that, but we didn't want to fully base every single thing around kids. So I don't know, I feel like in smaller cities we could have like found things that were fun for like both of us, like going to the beach or stuff like that. So that's how we kind of chose where to go. I also had a bunch of questions about Lola's naps. So before we left, she was taking 2 naps a day, and then on the trip I was like, okay, she's just gonna get 1 nap a day, whether that's like in the stroller or in the carrier or maybe at the Airbnb if we're like home for that time. But she pretty much took 1 nap a day most of the time, and she can kind of just hang. I try to keep with like, if you know what wake windows are for babies, like how long your baby should typically be awake to kind of like keep them happy, if you like to keep them on a little bit of like a schedule or routine. So I usually follow those, but on this trip I was like, she gets 1 nap a day. Obviously if she like wants more, she's really fussy, then we can try and give her more, but she does pretty well with just doing 1 nap. And sometimes it was only like a 30-minute nap, and somehow she just hung out and was like a happy baby. The next question is about sharing a hotel in London. Like, did the girls ever wake each other up? And initially, so I booked my flight to London direct, so it was from Salt Lake to London, and then I booked on a separate airline from London to Nice. So we needed to get back to London so that we could fly home. So I booked our Nice part of our trip, and then we had like 8 days or something to fill, and that's when I thought we were gonna go somewhere else. So then I booked a hotel in London for us for 2 nights, because I was like, oh, we've been to London and we can just do like 1 day there. And then I wanted to just make sure we were there at least like a day or 2 early, so we weren't like flying in the morning of our flight and then trying to like catch that flight and go home, you know. I didn't want to have like any room for error. So that's why I booked the hotel for 2 nights, and we stayed in Airbnbs in Nice and in Paris. And I 100% think Airbnb is the way to go if you're traveling with kids, just because you have way more room. Because we only were going to be there for like 2 nights, I was like, oh, I'm gonna book a hotel, it'll be fine. And then we ended up changing our plan, and I couldn't cancel or refund, like get a refund for my hotel or even change my booking. I literally had to make like a separate booking. We were staying like Thursday to Saturday or something, and I had to make another booking from like Monday to Thursday because they wouldn't like change it for me. And it wasn't worth it to me to like get an Airbnb for a couple days and then switch to the hotel. So I was like, we'll just stay in the hotel for 5 days, it'll be fine. It was fine, but I don't recommend doing that. The girls didn't wake each other up besides like in the morning when it was time to get up, but we had 2 beds. So we just had Lola in a crib on my side, and then Parker and Cove actually slept in 1 bed farther away from the crib, so that if Lola did wake up, I was right there and it wouldn't like wake Cove up, you know? So we didn't really have a problem, but I don't recommend a hotel. What was the hardest part of traveling with babies? What was the hardest? I feel like kind of just the logistics of everything. I had a ton of questions about like how we got around, car seats, all of that stuff. I have more questions about that, so I guess I'll just say the logistics of all of that stuff, and then I'll get into it in a second. But how was the jet lag for Cove and Lola? Did they adjust well? We all actually adjusted so well. That was one of the main things I was worried about. I was worried about the flight getting over here. I wasn't that worried for that one because it was a red eye, so I knew that the girls would sleep for most of the time, and they did. Cove slept for like almost the entire thing, and Lola slept for most of it too, and Parker and I also got to sleep for like a good amount of it. And then for the jet lag, I think we got in at like 7 p.m. and then we like stayed up for a few hours and then slept, and we woke up and we felt pretty good. We kind of just gave ourselves the first day to like do nothing. The only plan for the day was just to kind of like adjust that day, walk around Nice. Like we just had nothing specific planned. So we actually pretty much adjusted to the jet lag really well, but the way home was different. I feel like it's taken a full week for us to kind of like get back to normal, and we actually all got sick after we got home, so it was a long week. And I feel like you need, after a trip this big, you kind of like need a couple days to recover from your vacation anyways, but jet lag and being sick, it was like not fun for a few days. Next question, why did you not like Disney? At least it seemed that way. So we went to Disneyland Paris. We only had 2 full days in Paris. We got there, we had 1 day to kind of just explore. We've already been to Paris before, so we've like seen a lot of things there. And then the second day we went to Disneyland Paris, and I feel like it just was not really that worth it to go. I didn't realize this when we got tickets because it was our friend's idea to go, so he was the one who like got all the tickets and everything. But Disneyland Paris is like an hour outside of Paris. When I mapped it, it was like trains and buses, and it was just a little bit confusing and stressful. So I decided to get a private car because there's just a few things that I'm like willing to splurge on when we're traveling with kids if it makes things like more easy and more comfortable. And I was just a little bit nervous to like take the train. Looking back, I should have just figured it out because Cody and Bria, our friends, took the train since they had already booked their Paris Airbnb before we decided to go there with them. We stayed in a separate Airbnb than they did. We stayed in the same one, the first in Nice, and that was fun. Yeah, we were like 20 or 30 minutes away from each other in Paris. So they took the train and they said it was super easy. So I should have like just bucked it up and figured it out, but I don't know. So I got a private car because I actually, this is getting off on a tangent now, but so we flew from Nice to Paris, and I was trying to figure out how to get from the Paris airport to our Airbnb, because in Nice we just took the public train. Again, in Paris, when I mapped it, it was like kind of complicated, and I think it was like an hour instead of like a 30-minute drive or something. So I was like, I'm just gonna like have a private car again. And I tried to look up like taxis with car seats and stuff, but I was just a little bit stressed. So again, this is where it's worth it to me to just pay a little bit more, have the comfort and the security of like knowing that I have car seats and all of that stuff. So I just ended up contacting the same company and saying, hey, we want to go to Disneyland Paris. What's like the rate for the drive. It was very expensive. So again, I recommend just like figuring out the public transportation. But yeah, anyways, Disneyland Paris. So first of all, it was an hour away. And then I guess there was a strike going on that day. So a lot of the food vendors were closed, which when I posted about that there was no food, a ton of people were like, oh, I had that same experience when I was there. And I feel like Disneyland food is just like half the fun of Disneyland. If you did not know, in Europe, in all different places, people smoke a lot. It's supposed to be smoke free in Disneyland, and it was not. There's people smoking all over. The employees did not care, and we didn't personally have any bad experiences with employees there, but our friends Coney and Bria had like a few interactions with the employees where they just were like not very nice. And at Disneyland, that's just not what you expect. So basically, it took forever to get there. We were starving. People were smoking in there, which is just like gross. I don't know. We had fun, and I'm glad that we went, but I don't know if I would like recommend to other people if they're going to Paris. I don't think I would recommend people go there unless it's like really on your bucket list or something. And I feel like we didn't ride that many rides either. Like I would have just rather spent another day in the city like doing something else. But anyway, next question. Would you say you got the travel bug out of your system before having kids? I picked this one because I think it's so important to travel before you have kids if you can, if that's something that you're interested in, because we did travel for like 3 years straight before we had kids. When we had kids, I was like, oh, we're still gonna travel, and then like whatever, COVID happened, so obviously we didn't travel a lot. And now getting back into it, you can still travel, but it is completely different and it's just not the same experience. So I do feel like we got a lot of traveling out of our system before we had kids, and I'm really glad that we did. So I just wanted to answer this question and say, if you are interested in traveling or you're like thinking about having kids, travel before you have kids. Yes, you can still do it when you have kids, but it is a lot harder, and there's kind of just like certain things that maybe you can't do, or they're just not like as enjoyable to do. Like if you have kids with you, just like the logistics, like I said, kind of just make everything a little bit harder, and it's still fun. Like we still had a good, enjoyable time. But if you're thinking about kids and you haven't traveled a lot and you're like, oh, I'll travel with my kids, I know it's expensive and there's a million reasons of like why everyone can't just go out and travel. I just recommend that you travel as much as you can before you have kids if you want to. How did you guys get around the cities with 2 kids and no car seats? So like I said, if we had somewhere that we needed to go, like from the airport to our Airbnb and to Disneyland and back, and I also booked the private car from our Airbnb to the train station, but unfortunately there was a train strike, so instead of taking the train from Paris to London, we ended up having to fly. So I had our car take us, instead of to the train station, it took us to the airport. So I would recommend taking public transportation as much as you can. We did that a lot in Nice. We also just kind of walk everywhere. If it's like under a 40-minute walk, we would just walk. We walked like probably 8 to 12 miles a day. Like we were walking a ton. Actually in London we walked a lot too, but the London tube system is like pretty easy to navigate. I will say it's not super stroller friendly. In a lot of the different ones, like stops that we went in, we couldn't find like elevators. I thought that they legally had to have like elevators and stuff. Maybe we didn't look hard enough, but there was a lot of times that we were like, we literally don't see an elevator, we're just gonna like pick up the stroller and take it down the stairs. And people were actually really nice, and we had multiple people offer to like help us, like nice guys and stuff. They were like, oh, do you need help to carry your stroller up the stairs? So that was really nice. But yeah, we walked a ton. That was something that was important to me when I was picking where to go, is picking walkable cities, and also cities with good public transportation. So in Nice we took trains a lot of places, we took basically trains and subways, public transportation almost everywhere. We did have that car a couple times in Paris, but it wouldn't have even made sense to bring their car seats because I'm not gonna like get a taxi and like put my baby's car seat in it. Hi.
I'm tired.
You're tired?
I'm tired to really bossy house.
Oh,
I
for
want
your bouncy
to
house.
watch one episode of Paw Patrol.
Oh, you want to watch an episode of Paw Patrol?
I want my mama.
You want your mama?
Yeah.
Okay. I would love to come turn on an episode for you. Be right back. Okay, anyways, I feel like it wouldn't have made sense for us to take our car seats unless we were like renting a car if we went to Switzerland or something and we were doing a lot of like actual driving. But since we could walk everywhere and take public transportation, it just wouldn't have made sense, because again, I'm not going to put my baby's car seat in a taxi and then go somewhere and then like take my baby's car seat out and have it with me, you know what I mean? So we just didn't really need car seats. We did have them a couple times when I got that private car, but again, I could have just used transportation. I just got a little bit lazy, to be honest. So did you end up checking a bag or packing in a carry-on? Like I said, we packed one checked bag. We did not have enough hands to take more than one bag. We had our double stroller, I had my backpack, Parker had his backpack, Cove's backpack of toys that she did not carry herself, and then we had a suitcase, and the suitcase was really big and heavy. It was like 70 pounds, so it was overweight, but because we only had one bag for the 4 of us on all of our flights, I think we took like 4 or 5 flights, they only made us pay the overweight fee once. We did cram everything into one bag, and that was literally like all we had enough arms to carry. Was it hard to find good food options for the girls? It was a little bit hard because I try to eat mostly plant-based and the girls eat mostly plant-based too, but in France they ate a lot of eggs because they ate eggs at home anyways, but they had a lot of omelets. It was kind of hard to find good food, especially because I want them to like try different things and try different foods, but also if I know it's something that they probably aren't going to eat, even though they aren't super picky, I don't want to spend $25 on like some plate of food for them that I know they're probably not going to eat, you know? So it was a little bit hard, but they ate lots of like avocado, they ate lots of fruit. We actually brought a bunch of snacks from home just to kind of have on the go. We brought like applesauces, which they love. We brought goldfish. We had like peanut butter crackers and stuff like that. So we had a lot of snacks with us, which was good. And then we made it work with food. It was fine, but it was a little bit hard to find stuff. I think it wouldn't be quite as hard if your kids eat meat, because you can always give your kid like a chicken nugget or something, even though that's not super foreign, you know? Again, since we eat mostly plant-based, like we're not gonna eat like snails or something. Did Lola have her own seat or did she sit on your laps? She sat on my lap or on Parker's lap for every flight. I wish that she could have had her own seat, but in Europe, like all of the different airlines that we took, I think we flew on like Air France and British Airways, they're kind of funny about like, they literally give you a seat belt for your baby to like strap to your own seat belt. So I think that even if I purchased a seat for Lola, they wouldn't have like let her sit in it. And babies do get to fly for free before they're 2 years old on like most airlines. So Cove had her own seat, I had mine, Parker had his, and I would have liked to have one for Lola just to have more room for her, but again, I don't even know if that would have been allowed, and obviously that would be a lot more expensive. So I would look into it. Like if you have the money to buy a seat for your kid and the airline will let your kid sit there, I would at least look into it because it is nice to have more space. Do you wish you would have gone earlier when it was a little bit warmer? Yes, I wanted to go earlier, but again, this was Cody and Bria's trip, so we were kind of just like along for the ride with whenever they were going, and it actually ended up, we had pretty good weather. It rained a few times, but for the most part, we were like kind of hot in the clothes that we brought. I would wear like a tank top or something, and then I would have my sweater on or like a sweatshirt, and I was like too hot, especially because I was carrying Lola in the carrier, or we were like pushing the stroller, or Parker was carrying Cove, so we ended up being hot a lot of the time. It would have been nice if it was like a little bit warmer. Nice was pretty warm, so that was good, but Paris and London, they weren't warm, but again, because we were like being very active, we were kind of warm. So yes, I wish we would have gone earlier, but we had pretty good weather for like being there in October. How was the situation with COVID? It was totally normal. There wasn't like one single place that like our thing that was different than before. Next question, how was the Zoe double stroller? Love it. The Zoe double stroller is the best double stroller. It's narrow enough that you can fit through doors, like most doorways, and it just like folds in half. And then I bought the backpack for it, so Parker could just like put it on as a backpack whenever we were like walking through the airport or whatever if we didn't need it anymore. And I love it. It like reclines back really far, so Lola could take a nap in there. It has like sunshades that go down really far. It has storage underneath on the bottom, so I was super happy that we brought it. But I will say that we did end up just like carrying the girls a lot of the time. I don't know how Parker did it, but he carried her so far for like so long on so many of the days, because a lot of the things we did in London, like I said, were not super stroller friendly. Like we went to the Tower of London and we went like inside of it, and you could not take a stroller in there. And then being on the tube and stuff was really hard to take the stroller, so I just wore my baby carrier a lot of the time with Lola in it, and Parker just carried Cove. Like she would walk for a second and then she'd be like, my legs are tired, so he would just carry her, and I don't know how he did it, but it was definitely worth it to take the stroller. What did you guys splurge on the most, and was it worth it? So the thing we splurged on the most was our plane tickets. I did buy business class plane tickets, so kind of similar to like first class, and those seats recline fully flat. This is just where I choose to spend my money, and it is 100% worth it to me. It's how I got through the flight. A lot of people were like, what are your tips for the flight? And I know this is not a helpful tip because it's so expensive, but it's just like that's how I got through the flights, is that I was able to like be comfortable and fully lay down. Cove had the same type of seat, so she could fully lay down, so she slept for most of both of the flights. When Lola fell asleep, I could put her on my seat, and there wasn't a lot of room for both of us, but like it was just a lot more comfortable than like a normal seat. So that's what I splurged on the most, and it was worth it to me. How did you like traveling with the Wildbird baby carrier? So I just got a new carrier from Wildbird. I love it. I'm so happy that I brought it. The next question is, do you have anything you regret not bringing with you? And the answer is a second carrier for Cove, because like I said, Parker carried her literally everywhere. She's not like heavy, but kinda. If you literally are just carrying her like with your arms, she sat on his shoulders a lot. But I wish we would have brought a second carrier for Cove because she's within the weight limit. But I use that baby carrier every day. It is amazing. Next question, how did the general public act around kids in public spaces? Did you breastfeed in public? How was it? So when I was doing my research on like where we should go, what we should do, Europe with kids, all of that, I read that people just in general in Europe are a lot more like welcoming to kids. People in America think it's like a whole personality trait to like hate children or babies or whatever. But pretty much everyone that spoke to us or whatever was very kind, especially like most of our waitresses or waiters were very nice about us having kids. Even just like people on the street being like, oh, like they're so cute. And I don't know, everyone was really, really nice. I will say in France, we did not find high chairs at most restaurants. So even though they were like very kind and like said nice things to our kids and like try and talk to Cove or whatever, there wasn't high chairs at most restaurants that we went to, probably like 80% of them. That was hard. I had to just like hold Lola, or we would try to like keep her in the stroller if we could. I did breastfeed in public. I always breastfeed in public. I don't care if someone's looking at me or whatever. And I actually figured out how to breastfeed her in my carrier, so that was nice. But yeah, people were really, really nice about us having kids. And again, in London, we had multiple people offer to help us like carry our stroller up the stairs or whatever. So people were really, really nice, which was nice. And also there was a few different places we went, like the London airport, I think, maybe the Nice airport. I don't know. A few of the airports that we went to had special like family friendly lines. So when we like went through customs and all that stuff, we got to go in a family line. The line was like way shorter. It's just nice to not have to wait in a long line if you have like a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old hanging on you. Did you let Cove pick out any places she wanted to go shopping while abroad? Yes, she went to multiple toy stores and she got a new Paw Patrol car. She got like a little toy doctor, like a vet kit from Zara. She got a lot of different little souvenirs and stuff. So we did try to let her have like her fun little things like that. We didn't fully plan around the kids, like I said, but we also didn't fully plan around like just our stuff. We tried to mix in like kid-friendly stuff. So in London, when we wanted Lola to take a nap in the room, I would go in the room with her. Parker would take Cove down to like the park that was right by our hotel. So we did do kid-friendly stuff and let her kind of pick out like whatever stuff she wanted if we like saw a toy store or whatever. And I did try to let her pick out like whatever food that she wanted to eat. If she loves rice, so she would like pick out rice or french fries or whatever. So we tried to make her have like help her have a little bit of a say in stuff. I didn't screenshot a question of this. I thought that I did, but people asked about like the language barrier being in France, and most people speak English. In our experience before going to France, people have not been like the nicest. Like I wouldn't go to France and be like, oh, people are so nice there. Oh, people are a lot nicer in like London or like other places that we've been. But people, like I said, they were really nice. We'd like have the kids with us and stuff. And for the most part, everyone that we spoke to spoke English. And it's always nice to like try and speak French or like the native language for people, but I feel like I just sound so dumb, and obviously I don't know any French at all. So a lot of the time we were with Cody, our friend, and he was the one who would like try and speak a little bit of French or ask them in French if they spoke English. For the most part, we didn't really have a lot of like language barrier problems. Obviously we didn't have any in London, but an app that was really helpful is the Google Translate app. You can open up the camera and you can just like hold it over like a menu or whatever you're looking at, and it will translate everything for you. Or you can import a picture, or you can like take a picture and it translates everything for you. So that was super, super helpful. But I will say when we got to London, it was so nice to just like be able to read everything. But anywhere we've ever been, we haven't really ever had a problem with the language barrier, because most places they either speak English too, or they have signs in English that you can follow. So, but this was my first time ever using that app, so I highly recommend that. Those are all the questions. This video is like a million years long, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope it was helpful. I think I'm just gonna end it here because it's literally so long. That is it for today. Don't forget to check out HelloFresh, linked down below, and that is it. So we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye guys.